Hello everybody, and thank you for coming back to the channel. And let me give you a bit of an update on what I've been doing with the P47. So I finished the other wing also. Let's see if you can see it. So both wings are now completed and I've sanded it down and carved it. So a lot of carving work, which is also quite relaxing and rewarding because you see progress. So that's the wing. It looks a little bit like that of a Spitfire, but the Spitfire would be much more elliptical. But knowing that it's a P47, then it's evident. Big dihedral, there it is, and it's kind of balanced. So quite satisfied with how this came along. So for the moment I'm going to leave it aside. And then before I go on with the updates on the tail surfaces, I want to point out two things. First of all, if you're interested in the project and you like how it's going, don't forget that you can subscribe and also mark the notification bell, because with this project what I'm doing, I'm just posting as soon as I have something to show. So I'm trying to use the sharing that the community is giving, all the help that you can give me. So as soon as I have something, I try to edit it and post it so that I can get answers to some of the questions that I'm asking you, which I'm already getting some answers to. So that takes me then to the next point, which is another question that I have for you. Now, I want to build up the propeller, and there was a 4-bladed propeller. This is the template of one of the blades. It'll be 2 blades, so it's like two-bladed propellers that are going to go together. Now, the trouble that I have in the past, that I've had in the past, is that it's very difficult to make a hole that is completely vertical, especially if it's on a thick piece of wood. So what I've done, I've built up this jig. Don't know if you can see it. It's got a little piece of tubing here. Let's see if it focuses. It's the smallest tubing that I have, and then around it I've built a jig to see if I can do it as vertical as I possibly can, and then try to drill through that using a very small bit or a wire to try to drill through it. I struggle to make holes completely vertical, and in most cases it doesn't really matter because it's also very thin wood, but for the propeller it's going to be quite thick wood, and I really need it to be as stable as possible, at least from the beginning. So if you have any tricks or tips for how to do that, or if you're also using these kind of jigs that I came up with, then I'll be happy to know about it. And for the progress on what I'm doing, I've decided to go with the recommendation that some of you have told me, and I'm going to go with the big tail plane, the stabilizer. I'm going to go with the one that is drawn here as big for flight, because I would like to get it to fly. And I've already cut out most of the pieces. I'm just missing one. I've got the ribs, I've got also the leading edges, and I'm missing just this piece, which is the spar that is actually going to the back, then I will connect to the rudder itself. So sorry, that's not the rudder, to the elevator. So this is then the progress that I have. I'll come back when I have something put together, and I'll share that, and it's coming along. So let's see the whole tail assembly, how it ends up, which I believe would be quite big. I realize I haven't posted for a while, so let's see if I can wrap this up. So here we have the stabilizer, and I brought out my PT19 that still I haven't managed to get to fly properly, just to compare the wingspan, right? So the PT19 is just slightly bigger than the tail fin, the stabilizer from the P47. So that's a kind of size change that I'm trying to go through now. As you can see, I've built it up. It's not completely symmetrical, but I think it stays well. I'm going with a bigger size, as I mentioned before, and I've also managed to build the elevators. Here are the two elevators, right and left. Hope you can see them. The right one here I've already sanded down, so it starts to look, I think, kind of nice. If you once sand it down, it looks nice. And then this one is still not yet completely sanded down, so it's still a bit rough on the edges, but that'll be fine. What I will do then, I still have to figure out exactly how to put in the hinges, and I'm thinking of using maybe some can of drink, some pop drink, some Coca-Cola or something like that, cut out 2 hinges and see how I can put it in there. It has to be hinges that let it move on the one hand, but also that stay put. So the normal plastic hinges won't do, because they'll have the tendency to bend back to the normal position, but I need them somehow to have a plastic deformation that then will stay in the position to be able to trim for the flights. So let's see, a bit of a clumsy chapter, I'm afraid, here, but some progress. Wing, stabilizer, and elevator. Next will be probably the tail, the rudder and the fin assembly, which is another project of course in itself. So thank you very much everybody for watching and for all your tips and tricks, and I'll see you next time.